Hello and welcome to Audley End House and Gardens, where history and horticulture come together. I'm standing here in the organic wall kitchen garden, and there's also orchards here as well, and they're looking splendid in this spring sunshine. The trees are still tight in bud. There's a little bit of blossom showing here or there. I'm also very pleased to be joined by Louise Ellis, who's going to give us some exclusive insights on how these wonderful gardens are run.
Hello, I'm Louise Ellis. I'm the head gardener here at Audley End House and Gardens. I'm part of a garden team of 12 staff and 60 volunteers, and we're responsible for caring for 100 acres of landscape, ornamental gardens and the 2.5 acre walled kitchen garden.
We are surrounded by these wonderful espalier apples. They look absolutely splendid, and they've been used in kitchen gardens for absolute centuries.
Espalier trees particularly, I think there are images on Egyptian tombs, but they were particularly popularised in the 17th century. Within a walled garden, they obviously are very productive, so you're sort of maximising space.
They have many advantages to a modern gardener as well. You know, they're very good for space, and it's easy to access the fruits and to control any pest or diseases.
As gardens get progressively smaller, trained form enables you to have fruit in a pot.
And they look very, very impressive when they're mature. The process of actually training them and getting those arms or tiers established is quite straightforward, isn't it? So if people are looking at these and getting a bit nervous, please don't.
Once you've got your established tree, you do need to do some manual pruning. So in the summer, you would be reducing down lots of vertical growth, so upright growth from the horizontals, and you'd be shortening that back to just a couple of buds, and that's helping those buds to form for the next season's fruit. In the winter, you'd perhaps go back over the tree and do any additional pruning. There might be a bit of secondary growth. You might have lots of what will be fruiting spurs, so buds, perhaps too close together, and you might want to thin those out slightly.
So a bit of pruning in the summer and spur thinning out as well. I think anyone can get to grips with that and have these wonderful trees in their own garden. We've got 120 different apple varieties here, which must be fantastic for pollination, because we should explain that some apples are self-fertile, like my Cox's orange pippin. So I just need one tree to get fruit, and that's really good for people with a small plot.
Most of our trees do require another tree to be with them, so that there's sort of cross-pollination, so a bee or another pollinating insects. It's thinking about when things will be in blossom. We get lots of overlap here, so we'll have the pears first and they'll overlap with the apples. We also think about other flowering plants to make sure that there is plenty for pollinating insects. Herbaceous perennials, so flowering plants that might be in flower early in the season, things like Pulmonaria, which flowers really early and is a real magnet for bees.
Louise, we're surrounded in this walled garden by wonderful espaliers, stepovers and fans. As a newbie gardener or someone with limited mobility, could I buy one of these straight from the garden centre that's already trained and someone's done the hard work for me?
You can buy one fully trained. So you could buy an espalier, like the one that's just off to our left, which has 4 horizontal arms from the main trunk. There are other forms as well, something called a stepover, which is just the bottom tier. That would be accessible to someone for harvesting and pruning if they were maybe in a seated position.
So Louise, an orchard is quintessentially English. And you can have pears, you can have apples, you can have damsons, plums, all sorts of wonderful fruit.
We have a big range of historic varieties. We've got about 120 varieties of apple in the garden, 70 varieties of pear. They are all varieties that will have been available to Victorian gardeners. We do have varieties in the garden that were developed in the 1600s. We try and focus on East Anglian varieties as well. We hope that visitors can see varieties that you don't see in supermarkets.
Are there any that you think are particularly tasty or productive that modern day gardeners would enjoy to grow?
We have a culinary apple, a variety called Thomas Rivers. That's quite special to us because Thomas Rivers ran a fruit nursery just down the road in Hertfordshire. Our freestanding glasshouse was designed by Thomas Rivers as well. A walled garden was to supply fruit for a very long period. So we have apples that are harvested in August, and then we continue harvesting all the way through to November. And then the storage of them is different.
There are some trees here that are grown under glass though, and I believe that you have to actually hand pollinate them and become a bee yourself. Should we go and have a look at that?
Yeah.
So we've come to this wonderful, very appropriately named peach house. Louise, this is a fan-trained peach, and this is another way of training fruit trees to keep them relatively compact, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So as you say, fan-trained, so different to the espaliers and stepovers that we were looking at earlier. You tend to do it for sort of fruits with stones in, peaches, plums. This one's in blossom at the moment.
Isn't it beautiful? So we need to assist as gardeners to ensure you get a good harvest of peaches. So show me what we need to be doing.
Okay, so we'll use a brush. And we basically move from flower to flower, moving the pollen around.
So right, I get my bee brain on. Very excited to say that we've tracked down Emily, who's got the beautiful border at the autumn fair. So Emily, it's lovely to meet you, and tell me about your garden.
It's called the interwoven garden. It's really bringing together plants that can be used for weaving, to dye as well. Being from a kitchen garden, I like things that are quite practical, including things that are ornamental as well as plants that might be considered to be more wild. Cosmos sulphureus, which has that amazing orange colour, maybe like nettles or stinking iris. They might not be so glamorous, but they're things that aren't just beneficial to wildlife, but you can actually make things from them. So just trying to really celebrate that in the garden.
We've also managed to track down Jess, who's a trainee here at Audley End, and she and her colleague Charlotte have also putting together a beautiful border for the autumn fair.
Our concept is a forest edge habitat, which kind of connects two declining habitats in the UK, so a meadow and a woodland garden. For this we need to create two contrasting conditions. We're playing with the topography so that the woodland garden is sort of sunken, so it collects water much more.
Oh Jess, it sounds incredible to see it all come to fruition at the fair. Louise, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with me today. I've learnt a phenomenal amount, and it was also lovely to meet your team at Audley End here. And we have the show to look forward to as well, BBC Gardeners' World Autumn Fair. English Heritage are having some input to the show, aren't they?
As well as being the host site, and obviously visitors can enjoy the gardens, we'll be joining you and Saul on the plant expert tours of the Wall Kitchen Garden. We have an English Heritage stand within the parkland. Visitors can come and chat to the garden team, and we'll be running sort of drop-in sessions and short talks on different topics. Quite a lot will probably be fruit and vegetable themed.
Louise, it sounds like people who come to the show are going to learn a huge amount about fruit, but also about vegetables and herbs in this wonderful kitchen garden. The show, if you want to come, and I strongly urge you to do so, it runs from the 29th to the 31st of August, and you can book your tickets at bbcgardenersworldfair.com.